Well, hello there, and welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice lunch. Um, Something isn't right with my sound, I don't think. Let's have a look. Yep, there we go. Okay, fixed. So, you join us after round 2, where we got our first points on the board. We're currently sitting P7 in the Constructors' standings and P10 in the Drivers' Championship. We are outperforming our teammate, but he's done really well. I mean, by AI standards, he's done super well. Really pleased about that. I took some time between Grand Prix to fix the logo and fix the livery of the car. So we only have 2 sponsors, so I've just covered the car in those logos so it looks a bit more alive. I'm still annoyed that we can't resize the logos or do much with them, because I think they've kind of missed a trick there, but it's fine. You'll also notice new teamwear, because that was all white and hidden. It was like the third accent colour, and now I've made it purple. It's visible, so hopefully the pit crew look a bit more alive as well. We have some time to spend, so let's see what we can do. We have 3, 6, 9 days. So we will do chassis equipment upgrade, chassis department focus, weight training, and then driver promotional filming. I think that's a pretty good use of our time. So let's jog along. And we have an update on our car. This is good news. Some more money coming in.
You're not currently in a rivalry. Sooner or later, you'll probably be asked by the media who you consider to be your rival. Think carefully who you select. While you will receive acclaim for beating them, you'll lose acclaim if you fail to do so.
Okay, I'm going to take balanced tyres for Vietnam, because I've never driven there before, and we're going to drive practice because, well, we have no idea how it's going to pan out. I have to keep one eye on my phone because my day job have been messaging me, but I think we're good. And again, I'm just sticking with the default setup, and in my driver career mode I will build some setups, and then we can turn the difficulty up even further because the car will be properly quick. The loading times are a bit of an arse, aren't they? And I wouldn't mind so much, but you have the long loading times and then the graphics come in really low res and sort of like pop in after the fact, and I don't think that's very, very good at all. Okay. So we haven't quite caught Alpha Tauri yet, but they've been leapfrogged by Alfa Romeo. It's a very, very tight midfield, as you can see. In terms of wear, we are putting a lot of wear on the car, but that's okay. No rivalry so far. Okay, let's hit practice and see what this track's all about. drinking too many sugary drinks. It's no surprise I've gotten so fat. But, you know, nothing I can do about it now. Plus, it's so hot in here. The weather's kind of... It looks a little stormy out, but it's red hot in the apartment. Outside, it's not that hot at all, so... I don't know what we've done wrong. That looks cool. But you see, like, down on the nose cone there, it's all pixelated. Like, they have to work on that. It's not good enough.
We're going to be logging some extra data during this session. Nothing you need to worry about, but as we have some new parts, we'll just confirm they're performing to spec.
Okay. Let's head out for... I'm going to drive out, so I have a lap to find my feet, and also I want to get a nice photo of the new car. Oh, it's left out of the pits. Never liked that. Okay, into the first DRS zone. And a stadium section, kind of like... Ooh, that's a difficult corner. Okay, that's going to be a very tricky corner to take at full speed. It's also very, very narrow. Overtaking is not going to be particularly easy here, I don't think. Another DRS zone. I'm not sure I like this track very much. But at least we've engineered the car properly for it, which is good. Let's take a cheeky photo, shall we? By focusing on the aero. Okay. Let's punch up the colours a little bit. Stick a vignette on it. Yeah, that'll do. I have no idea where the pit entrance is either. Must have been... oh yeah.
Approaching the DRS zone, watch your MFD for the activation point.
It's very hard to get acclimatised to. It's a very uncomfortable track. Broke a bit too hard there. That's not good. That's going to happen in the race a lot. Whew. Well, the car is very well suited to it because it's quite nimble, at least on low fuel. Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, that's going to be annoying. Looks like a new wall of champions
Great stuff.
there.
You've pretty much nailed this circuit. This is a really strong foundation to build from over the weekend.
Alright, let's see if we can find the pits.
Be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage.
I don't think this is a circuit that's going to lend itself very well to racing at all.
Okay, take it easy on the car. We can't sustain this level of damage.
Very easy to fuck up as well. Oh, I just missed the pit entrance.
We've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car.
Let's do ERS management next.
This is the ERS management test. Hit the target time whilst managing your battery charge. The more efficiently you use energy throughout the lap, the higher you will score. Use your overtake button for maximum power, but remember, that will drain energy rapidly.
We just have to focus on not fucking up, basically. So I think the car has the ability for a track like this. Just a little under responsive there. That was down to me. I'm feeling the default setup pain now. Hopefully I can slipstream Giovinazzi around and then don't need to use my overtake. getting into the realms now where these cars are not slipstreaming me, they're just slowing me down.
Program complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can talk you through the numbers.
I'm just going around again because I want to find pits to make sure there's nothing weird about the pit entry that I'm going to embarrass myself and bin it. It's not opened as DRS there.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. Front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
That was kind of my fault and his, but I'm going to leave it because it was nice to see the new damage effects. Okay, so here's the pit lane, okay. The teamwear looks a lot better, I'm pleased. It should still have sponsors on it though, it should still have sponsors on it.
Have set us back a little.
Okay, tyre management I think is going to be the hard one because the car is a bit understeery in some of the slow corners, and I've got a feeling that's going to be taken out on the tyres just hugely.
This test is all about tyre management. Try to control the slip through each corner and take extra care putting the power down at the apex.
Okay, let's see how we are on the tyres. Not the most tyre friendly circuit, that's for sure. Oh, we got through that alright. I really struggled on the last tyre test. Being as gentle as I can. Again, it's paying off that we made the car as nimble and light as we possibly could in the first season. Because it just suits street circuits so well. Don't know what brought out a yellow flag, but I must have been an incident behind us because we didn't come across anything. Wow, our pace is actually really good now we're in the rhythm of it. But it is not a circuit that's going to be conducive to good racing, I don't think. It's too narrow. It's way too narrow.
Okay, test complete.
But at least our pace relative to the other cars is way more accurate.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 42.3.
Let's bash out a fuel management run as well while we're at it. We'll have to do a second practice session as well just to make sure we complete all the programs and get all the development points. But really, we're just saving to improve the factory because the car's actually not bad, and I don't really see the need to invest in the car too much
In
in
this
the first
program, we
season.
want you to focus on fuel-saving technique. Lift and coast through corner entry to save as much as you can while keeping under the minimum lap time.
Lifting and coasting works really well, actually. I'm barely having to touch the brakes, which is good. The car's holding, mostly. Okay, but let's see. This isn't the best power unit for this sort of test. Don't know, it's an interesting setting, Vietnam, for a new F1 circuit, but I'm just not totally convinced the layout's any good. I'm sort of getting used to it now, but I don't like it. I mean, it's definitely faster than Monaco, and it's less narrow than Monaco, but the only place you'd get past anyone was just there, I think, and that's only by being pure and simple faster or having DRS. I don't think that's necessarily going to produce a good show in real life. Not that we know that this year, because obviously it's not happening. Come on, I'm barely touching the power. Well, green's good enough. We're not going to get purple. Let's move on to the next practice session because we don't have enough time to run another program. We'll do race strategy, qualifying, and then hopefully everyone who says they wanted to come back for the next round to see the new track will be done with what they're doing.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top three.
I'm pressing on regardless.
Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. What an incredible practice session. The fun doesn't stop here though. Join us again.
That's
as the
better.
rest of the weekend
We're much
unfolds.
closer. I mean, I'm way faster, but I was on a faster compact tyre. That's much better that the two of us are more realistically aligned in pace. Here's the interesting thing as well. What also happened while we were on lunch break is Codemasters released a driver update, which I've applied to this save. The idea is it's supposed to change the numbers of all the drivers to improve. Oh God, you're back. Where's Will Buxton?
Are there any drivers that you've got a rivalry with at the moment?
Yeah, Giovinazzi, definitely.
It's the start of the season. How do you think things are going to go for you? You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
The car did feel a bit heavy at times. But But really, Will Buxton should be doing those interviews, I think. Or Lee Mackenzie. That would be good. Susie Perry, someone like that. Loading times are still unacceptably long, I think. Okay, on to practice 2. And I'll blast through this fairly quickly. I don't expect it will take too long. I just want to make sure that we've informed the algorithm that dictates your tyre strategy well enough. So we'll do... And actually, if you do it on more than one kind of tyre, you get better information. Let's do it on the hard compound. It looks like it might rain as well. I haven't had rain in this game yet, and historically I've always been very good in the wet, but not in the last version of the game. I'm hoping to find out I'm good again in this version.
Okay, we need a few solid laps here to help us calculate a good race strategy.
I mean, it seems like the track's not too bad on our tyres, so I don't think we'll need to run the hard compound. Oh yeah. That didn't help, did it? That just confused me. At least there was a runoff zone for me to be that incompetent. Come on, give me some rain. I really need to do some setup work. I think the car's got the potential, it's just running the default setup always makes it feel a little lumbering. I found it's good to be very late on the power coming out of that corner, because otherwise you just have to come off again and it ends up costing you more time. And actually, I don't know if it's the track or the car, but driving super conservatively seems to help the overall pace. You know, like you're scared of the throttle and the brake. But we're not going to be as fast as we were in Bahrain, I can tell that already.
Okay, super job so far. We're getting great data. Stay focused.
Because Ricciardo is clearly much faster than we are, which wasn't the case in Bahrain. Still, he's not making an effort to go by, so... That last corner, that's another chance as well to make up a lot of time. Once you've got a car that can be on the power a lot more than I was, you're going to find that you've made several tenths up on that. Right, I'm going to brake early. Go on, through you go. Just now, don't ruin my lap time. Right, don't get past me and then hold me up. That wouldn't be cool. Have to be a lot quieter during these sessions because this track actually requires a lot more brain power than the ones we've driven so far, partly because it's brand new to me, but also it's very tight in some corners, and I don't really want to be stopping 3 or 4 times for new noses, because I imagine if I know actually from my first laps out of the garage that if I lose an end plate on the wing, it costs me a huge amount of time because you're basically in corners almost the whole way round. So I'm not going to be pushing for points at this Grand Prix, that's for sure. My aim would be just to get round cleanly without hitting anybody else.
Okay, super job so far. We're getting great data. Stay focused.
Okay, one final lap to do, then qualifying lap, and then we can actually drive in anger again and have something to talk about. I actually thought from the opening shot that it did before the session that we'd drive around the stadium that it was showing, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems a bit too far in the distance. Well, my pace has been very up and down on these laps, so I don't know what tyre strategy it's going to suggest. But I'm guessing it won't be suggesting we use the hard compound because it seems totally unnecessary. We are currently the slowest car, which is good, that makes total sense. It seems the driver update and the difficulty change is doing what I intended. Tell you what, I'm glad it's only going to be a 25% race because I don't think 50 or 100% I can maintain the focus required to not crash into the barrier in some of these corners.
Program complete and a job.
Oh, I did damage my wing. I must have been right at the end.
Time repairing the damage to the car.
Okay. Quali pace, please and thank you. First lap's on the soft tyre on this track, and the difference between the mediums and the hards was actually quite big in how it felt through the corners. I really don't want to be on the hards if I can avoid it.
Don't worry about tyres, just give it everything. In this test, we want to make sure we can lap close to our rival's pace.
We've got a teammate ahead of us holding us up. Good boy. Out of my way, please. Right, just cost me a buttload of time. Let's try that again, shall we? On the inside, or is he? See, sometimes it's handy to have that flashback function, just so it can help you learn what you did wrong exactly and equip you for next time, because you're testing like against like. Currently, our pace does not look so sexy. Please get out of my way, Sergio. Yeah, that's not gone well. Traffic really messes me up. I need to get better at that.
Practice program over. That's all we need for now. Return to the garage pronto.
I think we can be faster when we're not in traffic. But we've done alright. We've got more points than we would have got otherwise. So now is the time to head to qualifying.
The session has drawn to a close, so let's review our top three. Hamilton, Sainz and Williams. And if today's practice is anything to go by, we're in for an
Still no pit pass shop, which is annoying. Okay, morale looks good, that's pleasing.
I recommend we could go for something like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna save my points for now. Let's see how we do. We might not get out of Q1 this time, but that's fine. That's how it should be, really. And if we're battling the Williams and the Haas's, I think that's far more realistic than what we've had so far. And the fact that they've released a patch basically the morning after release tells me that they were aware this could be a problem and they'd already been working on some kind of solution. I don't know whether it's a simple case of opening a text document and changing some numbers or what, but I'm glad that they did. Why don't we be first out? Just in case it rains, you never know. Southeast Asia. Alright, I don't want that car in front of me, so I'll ease up a bit. Okay, wish me luck. Not a huge fan of this corner because you have to power, off power, power, and then brake, and then power. So it's a really bizarre rhythm. Broke way too hard for that corner, that's going to cost me time. Reminds me a little bit of the French Grand Prix, that you just lose so much time if you don't stick on the line. We'll have to have another run, I think, to make a crack at getting out of this session. But why don't we watch some of the drivers? Hey Beetlejuice, how are you, mate? I'm getting my eye in now, but honestly, I don't think it's going to produce good racing in real life. It's a little bit wider than Monaco, but it's got a very monogasque quality to it. There's not really many great overtaking positions, and even the corners at the end of straights, they're a bit too sharp, so you can't really go down the inside, and it's too long a corner to go around the outside. No, you're right, it doesn't seem to be. So a bit disappointing. It's also, it requires quite a bit of brain power from my limited stock to be competitive, because your racing line is so close to the barriers in a lot of the corners that, you know, just a tiny flick of the stick and you've, I mean, I haven't proper crashed yet, but I've taken off 2 or 3 end plates, and given that the entire circuit is basically corners, losing even an end plate just hugely affects your pace. So as discussed, still the old Mercedes livery for now, but there's the new Williams. No rocket branding. Let's have a look, I didn't notice. Oh Christ, yeah. What is that? It's like that that statue of Cristiano Ronaldo that they had a few years ago, that you could tell it was an attempt at him, but it wasn't him. Yeah, there's something wrong there, isn't there? It looks a bit like someone's, like a child's, described Lewis Hamilton to an alien on the phone. Actually, they all look a bit off, don't they? Like, Vettel looks a bit wonky there. Ocon's fairly good. Yeah, they all look a bit like you're looking at them through a fisheye lens. I tell you what, as well, you'll notice a lot of the graphics are quite low res and pixelated, and this happened on the old game, but it would like pop in after a few seconds. But this, no. Right, I'm going to jog on time a little bit more and see if we can't get out of this session. Something that happened while we were away as well. Codemasters released a driver performance patch, which I have installed, and for the first time it lets you apply it to saves in progress, which is really, really good. So I've done that, so all the drivers have had their performance stats changed between rounds. I've also cranked the difficulty a little bit because it was feeling stupidly easy. Let's hope I don't get caught in a buttload of traffic. I'm still crap in traffic in qualifying, and I will be particularly so here. Well, let's have a see. And you'll see what I mean as I go around. That it's just not very overtake friendly. Because if you move off the racing line, you're penalised in terms of time just so much that why would you move off line to get by? And also that corner is going to be my new wall of champions because I almost hit it every single time.
Okay, there's 2 minutes left in this session and we're in the drop zone. We need a quick lap or that's qualifying over for us.
I think it's going to be qualifying over for us, Jeff, because I'm already down 2/10 on my best time. No, you can't fire Jeff. And ironically, when I started the game last night and founded my team, in your first practice session he gets on the radio and thanks you for hiring him. And at the time I was like, well, it's not like I had a fucking choice, mate. I think it would be nice to... Probably prohibitively expensive. Codemasters are not the richest developer in the world. But it would be nice to have one or two... alternatively voiced race engineers. I mean, not that Jeff's particularly annoying for me, actually. I just, particularly in career mode, it was always breaking the immersion a little bit to have the same staff at every team you went. You know, like a mid-90s Michael Schumacher. And, you know, it's not like it needs to be unique to every team. But, you know, 2 or 3 sets and, you know, have them mix and match as drivers move around and stuff. I think that would help. But, you know, we're on our way. Yeah, that's true. It's interesting now, though, because we've got the luxury of being able to sort of juxtapose Schumacher and Alonso, right? Because both of them wielded massive influence in their respective teams. But one of them used it really well and the other squandered it. It's quite interesting. Well, I made all that time up in the 3rd sector. Again, though, what I'm finding is if I had to start this mode all over again, knowing now what I've learned, I'd do it all the same. I really think it makes the most sense to specialise in aero and chassis and ignore the power unit, because the car's quite happy to go long on its tyres. It holds the racing line, which I think is far more valuable in terms of tenths gained or lost than having more straight line speed. I missed the pit entry, didn't I? And I like my livery more now. I redid the logo and tweaked the livery while I was having my lunch. So the team wear looks better now because I had purple with a white primary colour and a white accent colour. And changing the accent colour to purple as well has revealed that there's a pattern on the team wear that was invisible because it was white on white. The only dodgy thing for me is that sponsor logos are a bit quirky. So sponsor slot 3 is the end plate on the front wing and the airbox. And on my car, those are two different colours. So if I make it purple, it's purple on the end plate, and if I make it white, it's white on the airbox, and so invisible. So I might have to make that black or silver or something, but I'll have it dabble between Grand Prix. It looks like we've got the pace for Q3 again, which we shouldn't. What I didn't do is check who dropped out. So we've lost Kimi Räikkönen, both Williams, both Haas's, and Jordan King, which makes sense. Yeah, the racing points. Oh no, Kimi's in as well. Okay, so if we've lost. Oh, Gasly, Pierre Gasly. Okay, definitely not going to get through on the mediums. That's just not going to happen. Again, I'm just going to do one run in Q2 and fingers crossed. I tell you what though, it's a horrifically draining track. When we do the Failcast podcast here, it's going to be a shit show. I mean, it's a shit show anyway, but you know what I mean.
If you want to know specific information or make certain changes to the car during a pit stop, you can tell me what you want over the radio. Press and hold the radio button to activate the system, and you can either speak...
But I can't though, can I, Jeff? Because you're a dirty racist and you can't understand the northern accent. I believe it's the same as everywhere, which is your limiter sets you to 80. Yeah. The pit lane circumvents 2 of the slow corners, doesn't it? To be honest, I think it is definitely a race that's going to be won or lost on pit strategy in real life and probably in the game as well, because you've just got no way of getting by slower cars cleanly and without extending your overall race time, which is bad. I kind of like the stadium section, but that said, it's probably a boring section of the track for the fans to watch. Yeah, for sure. There's no way Grosjean's going to finish this Grand Prix. Probably Magnussen either, because that Haas as well looks like a death trap. Did you see the way his front left brake disc just sort of exploded, and then with Grosjean both his brakes on the front just went as well. It was mad. Oh, that was a bad line. They are, and they're not updating their car at all this year. They've been told by Gene Haas that the team has to be profitable this year if they're going to stay in. And of course, a profitable F1 team is a hard ask anyway. But his solution is to just not spend any money on the car. But also, Gene Haas doesn't like being last. And if Latifi's got any pace in him at all, I think they'll be last. I think the Williams is genuinely a faster car. George Russell got very unlucky, and Latifi's a complete rookie, but I actually think it's a faster car. There might be circuits where that's not true, but I get the feeling it's a faster car. Okay, so we're starting P13, which is a lot more realistic. Yeah, he did, but he had to be honest, because there might not be a Williams next year the way things are going, and that means he needs to be plucked for greatness. And actually, I don't think Latifi did too bad. He was closer to Russell than Kubica ever was in qualifying. His first lap in qualifying really, really worried me. He was way too slow. His second also didn't look great, but it was much closer. But by the time he put in his third lap in Q1, he happened, I think, to be close enough to be respectable for a first time out. He did crash his car though in FP3. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we're starting P13, much more realistic. Hello, Wodge. You will have missed it. I was explaining to Beetlejuice before, there's been, between the last Grand Prix and this one, I've upped the difficulty, but also Codemasters have released a driver performance patch. So all the drivers have had their stats changed. Interestingly, the Red Bulls leading the way in Q2 doesn't mean, obviously, they'll start on pole. Other than that, everything looks fairly believable, except Ocon in Q3 instead of Danny Rick, and one of the Racing Points being out, because I think the Racing Points have actually got the legs. Avante. Let's go on to the race and see. The problem was as well, while you were shopping, Beetlejuice, I had a perfectly clean race. It was immaculate, mate, and you weren't there to see it, and now you're back just in time to see me completely balls it up. I am going to crash in this Grand Prix. I might not DNF, but I am going to. Take damage and struggle, I think. Yeah, I know. It's an amazing coincidence, isn't it? But, maybe that says more about you than me. Maybe you're like a jinx. Maybe your stern judgment of my skills puts me under pressure. I feel the pressure weighing on me. Here's a question. The top of the mountain logo, maybe I should make it Silver Race so it's visible on the race team wear. Decisions. Anyway, aim again, both cars finishing. I don't expect points to be on the table without some attrition or a very sneaky pit strategy. I am actually going to agree completely with Beetlejuice that there's undercut potential here, and I will pit early if it's called for, which I suspect it will be. I have no idea how I'm going to overtake anybody. Do you know, I would definitely two-stop on this track if I was running a longer race, but Season 1 I'm just doing 25% races because I want to get through it and see where the bugs are, see what might get tweaked or so on. Last year I did 100% races and I found that it killed the viewership completely because people just don't have the time. You've got to respect people's time. I think 50% is a good sweet spot, but I'm doing 25 at the moment because I'm going to stream all day today and see how far I can get in, and I want to see what I can learn about the game. And also, I'm not doing a lot in the first season because I'm trying to save my resources, so no point dragging it out, right? For developments in progress, they're all due on Monday the 6th of April. So that will be are one big upgrade package of the year. The rest of the points and money are going into the factory now. But we are probably going to end up roughly on par with Scuderia AlphaTauri, and that's a good thing. We're putting a lot of wear on our components, but again, that's to be expected. You're probably right. I'm surprised actually I didn't take an end plate off in qualifying, because I took off 3 in practice. But yeah, let's see. Extra pressure now. I have to prove again to Beetlejuice, for the record, that I can drive a clean race and not just make stupid dive bomb overtakes and and bin it into the wall. But you see, it's good that I'm streaming this so much and playing it so much, because I'm initially, like, if I had to review the game based on my experience last night, it would be a clear 10 out of 10. I'd be more inclined towards a 9 out of 10 now. I mean, I love the physics model, I love how it handles, but there's some little niggles that I don't think are acceptable, and there's some oversights in some of the design choices. So let's see, again, while Croft is talking, see if you can notice any low-res textures that don't go away. Ice peeled.
Here in Vietnam. A lap of Hanoi Circuit then, 3.4 miles around the Vietnamese capital. A number of the 23 corners take their inspiration from other great circuits, hopefully creating plenty of passing opportunities. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness, and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Vettel, Albon, Max Verstappen and Leclerc, Sainz, Norris, Perez and Lance Stroll, Raikkonen, Williams, Daniel Ricciardo and Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, Grosjean, Russell, King and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see.
I didn't realise Jordan had qualified so far down. But did you see on his car, like his number 82, it never resolved into a clear number, and I don't think that's okay. I also had a bug in the last version of the game, which I haven't seen replicated yet, where the textures on race overalls will be like cut in half and rotated 90 degrees. It was very, very odd. That hasn't replicated so far though.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Oh, fuck off, Jeff. That's not going to happen. But also, look at my guys with the team wear. It's just blur. It's just a blur. And it's, you know, this would happen before. Like, it would load in and then it would, like, pop in a few seconds later. But now it doesn't even pop in. Yeah, it would be. Definitely. Okay, what strategy are we on? 7 laps on each. Yeah, I might pit on lap 6 if I get stuck in traffic. I think that's reasonable. Right, let's get the pain out of the way, shall we? Wish me luck, everyone. And exactly as I expected, there's nowhere to there's nowhere to go. Oh, come on, that was clean. That was clean. You have to let me have that one, Beetlejuice. I left him with car's width and everything. Oh, shit. I broke a bit too late there, but again, didn't run into the back of Verstappen, so it actually turned out in my favour. But you see, while I was bragging about being so clean, I accidentally sent it. Up into the points, though.
Alright, we're looking good so far.
There's a yellow flag behind us, so some other drivers have come together or someone's got a technical issue. One thing I am still missing, and I know a lot of players don't want it, failures, mechanical failures on your own car. I mean, I'd be fine with making it something you could turn on or off as preference, but they've got it for other drivers. It'd be nice to have it for the player as well, at least as an option. Just because, you know, it makes it a bit more realistic and immersive. I mean, I don't play career mode to just win everything. I play it because I want the authentic career experience, and to me that... Yeah, it's true. I like the idea until I drive a Haas. That's true. But, you know, to be fair, I would at least get a laugh out of my brakes exploding. A very short laugh followed by a lot of emergency dental work. Well, we found ourselves in our own little no man's land here. But I have to say, in F1 2019, I'm going to be completely honest with you now, I had to restart every Grand Prix I began. Partly because I was inept, but because it seemed like the AI was so aggressive that every time at turn 1 there would be an incident. And, you know, that would just be the end of it. However, here, the AI still seem quite... I mean, it's fun to race them, but they're nowhere near as reckless as they were in F1 2019, and that's very, very welcome. Because also it makes you less reckless. It cuts down on the frustration you might be feeling. We have no right to have a car up in this position. I've turned the difficulty up as well, and the drivers ahead of me should have got a performance improvement, so we have no right being where we are at all.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use
Okay,
DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead.
I'm going to start burning off some of my battery power to try and catch back up to the back of Verstappen. We don't have the pace to get ahead of him, but I've got Raikkonen behind me and I don't want him getting in DRS range. Because DRS is going to be very powerful. Oh, someone ahead of us has had an incident. It's oh, poor Alexander Albon.
Green flag.
He's either going to retire or he's going to drive very slowly for a bit and his car will reset itself. Tell you what, yeah, he's out.
From the race.
Poor guy. I felt so bad for him with that incident with Lewis, and at the time, safety car is enabled, but what I have heard from other people is Codemasters recognised the problems with the safety car implementation in the last game, so now it comes out less often. And a lot of people besides me were upset with the way VSC was done. Yeah, that isn't realistic, but I think the problem was with the safety car implementation in the last game is you had your VSC. If the VSC didn't end on the same on the next lap, then that would trigger a full safety car, and you knew the full safety car wasn't going to end until all the cars had caught up to the train. And it made it very easy to exploit for pit gains and so on, but also it bored the arse off some people. But then again, you know, I don't know why they changed it like that, because you can always turn it off. And I know most people I know play with safety car disabled. I just turn it on because, again, I like the immersion. I'm too fat to be a real F1 driver, so you know, I want to pretend. I'm also too working class and northern for the sponsors, so it would never work out. They'd be there serving foie gras and other things that sound French. I'd be eating fish and chips out of a bag. I actually would. It'd be good. That game had it quirks all of its own, didn't it? But I tell you what, the reason I obsess over failures and safety cars and so on is when I was a kid, I played F1 97 or 98, and that was the first time in my life I did a 100% race, and I was playing as David Coulthard in the McLaren, and I was going to win at the A1 ring as it was back then. It's now the Red Bull ring. And with one lap to go, I had an engine failure.
We're approaching the pit window.
And I should have been like throwing my pad across the room. But actually, I mean, I was annoyed, but I loved that something like that could happen. That could have that effect on me. And it's always stuck with me. Hopefully that's just, you know, a simulation kind of thing and not a sign of some psychosexual issues, like a sadomasochism. But, you know, I liked it because, you know, that's what happened to the drivers on TV, and I was able to feel like I'd earned a win and had it taken away. Exactly, it makes the winning feel more rewarding. And rather than just the failures being random, like, this game already tracks where to your power unit and like temperatures and so on. If you are overheating your power unit all the time, which I have a tendency to do actually because I'm a bit fat-fingered on the throttle, that should increase the chance of your power unit exploding. And I would like a mechanic like that in the game. So obviously, Verstappen's got past Norris and they are pulling away from me, which is to be expected because they are faster, but Raikkonen is still 2.2 seconds behind me. I have to say as well, I'm loving the new graphics in this game. I mean the on-screen like telemetry graphics and the insights from Amazon speed trap stuff. I'm looking forward to spectating a race actually, which sounds a bit odd, but that's what I was hoping I'd be doing in manager mode. I didn't really want to be driving for my own team. I've just gained 0.2 of a second over Raikkonen in that final sector. The car's really good in the final sector. It's the first sector where I'm struggling a bit. There is, as well, a Beyond the Grid podcast that I've been meaning to listen to all week with Mika Salo, which immediately tells me it's going to be good, and there's going to be some good Arrows content in there, I suspect. So, if you find yourself needing a podcast later, that's one worth looking up, I imagine. I haven't listened to it myself yet, so maybe I should hold off endorsing it. But Beyond the Grid is normally good. Also, the highlight of my Instagram is Mika Salo and Eddie Irvine being best buds. Eddie Irvine is such a fucking boss in retirement. He lives on this tropical island with his own boat and plane. He's just taken all the Ferrari money, bought a big fuck-off house, and he lives on a tropical island, and he just spends his time arsing about, having the time of his life. That's the retirement I would want for myself. Mika Salo goes to like classic car shows and so on. He doesn't even watch F1 as far as I can tell, because during the Grand Prix at the weekend he was posting pictures from an American car show in Finland. But occasionally they get together and it's so wholesome. They drink Coca-Cola and eat burgers and just hang out being best buds, it says.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
Oh wow, everyone pitted early. I'm going to press the overtake button then and see if I can't capitalise here. Do an overcut, but I think the undercut is more powerful. Do you know, actually, I'm enjoying this so much. I'm looking forward to my driver-only career mode, and I'll do that 50 or 100%, because I'm betting actually the longer distance races are a lot of fun. Because to me, like, changing your pit strategy on the fly and everything, that's part of the fun. Here's a question for you guys as well. I don't know if you guys have been playing the F1 games, but do you drive cockpit view or TCAM? Because what I've noticed from watching other people play this game on YouTube is that almost everyone drives TCAM, and I don't know if it's because they don't like the halo, which I can kind of understand, but I don't think it holds me back. It's not made me any more inept than I already was. Or is it maybe it's just more visually appealing for oh, it's 60 kph the pit limit here. In my defence, a 6 and an 8, they look kind of the same when you're using your peripheral vision. But I thought 80 was fast when I said it. Oh, Raikkonen's right up my jacksy. See if our pit crew look better now. Well, they would if they would load in.
Exit now. You'll be racing as you leave the pits. Exit now. Look after these tyres
I'm
now.
going to press the overtake
The race on
button.
this compound.
Is that my teammate? You're doing well up in 11th, you cheeky monkey. I have to make sure not to crash into him now. I'm overdue a bit of embarrassment. Ooh, he locked it up. I like the smoke effects on lock-up. This is not the place to try and get by him, obviously. I wonder if I could issue team orders. I like that you get your own steering wheel for your team as well. That's cool. It'd be nice to be able to like pick and choose between like nose designs and so on, sort of design the bodywork a bit, but that's probably asking a bit too much for a first iteration. Struggled a bit there. Oh, he's pitting.
Jordan is in the pits. Jordan in the pits.
Okay, let's try and get my eye back in again. I actually thought he pitted the lap before me, but apparently not. So I thought he was like 11th on merit.
Okay, gap ahead is 5.3 seconds.
Yeah, we're not going to be closing that. The main thing is to stop Raikkonen overtaking us. He's already in the DRS zone. Try and get away from him. Be God and Satan.
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
No, he's got DRS. Someone just drove into the back of me. Danny Rick, thanks for the nudge. I really thought I'd be able to keep him behind me, but that lap I was stuck behind my teammate, I took some liberties with the line, and it cost me a lot of time. It just allowed him to close right up to me. And DRS is so powerful. There was no way, just no point trying to keep him behind. But now I have the DRS. It's a bit unrealistic though, even after the driver performance patch, that he's up in 7th ahead of both Racing Points, which I think are probably in truth faster than the McLarens. It's simply a case that all the Mercedes powered cars seem to have some pretty severe issues in Austria. Well, here's where I'm feeling the power deficit, because even with the doors wide open, it wasn't enough to catch him like he could catch me. The Ferrari's the fastest engine in this game for some reason. Clearly they didn't get the memo from the FIA. We haven't had a power unit upgrade yet. Partly we handled the upgrades, of course, but it said in the start of the My Team season mode that your engine supplier will give you free of charge engine upgrades periodically, like new specification engines. We haven't had one yet, but I mean it's obviously still very early in the season. I'm wondering if the more expensive engines provide you upgrades more often as well. Overtake button depressed. Got the doors wide open.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
Do you know, if I stay calm, I might just be able to get him. I'm being much smarter with my use of battery, and I've learned as well it makes no difference to keep it on all the way down straight. You just need it to get up to speed, really. Kind of like KERS used to be. Like, you got the most benefit of KERS out of the slow corners. Right, I'm going to do 2 laps of charging my battery, and then I can have a go at him on the last lap as long as I can keep him in sight. Because I'd love a 7th, that would be excellent. And I'd feel like I'd earned it now I've turned the difficulty up and installed the driver patch and driven as cleanly as humanly possible. And if I've said it once, I'll say it again. I love the simplified ERS control. It makes such a difference. You know, I was going to try for one down the inside of him there, but it wasn't worth it. Crocky was talking out of his arse though when he said there's lots of great overtaking places, because there just aren't. this section of the track where I'm always most worried about my end plate. The car feels very wide suddenly. It's a pretty livery on the Alfa Romeo, it really is. I think it'll go down as one of the all-time classics. And I know it's still a Sauber on the inside.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
I chickened out at the last minute there. Okay, overtake button. Now's the time, I think, because I could have got past him there if I hadn't been so chicken. Whew, fortunately, that was just wheel-to-wheel contact, and I was a bit brave. Okay, this time, if I've got a chance in Sector 1, I'm going to take it. Because I think there's the potential to get past him. Yeah, you're also right. It's better to finish than risk crashing out, I suppose. No, I lost it. I'll get you next time, Gadget. Now I've got 2 racing points behind me.
This is your final lap of the race.
I don't believe it does, actually. It should, though, shouldn't it? Yeah, yeah, you're right. The Canadian Pedro Diniz. He's got a Mercedes unit though, and DRS. It's fun racing though. I'm really enjoying this, even though I felt like I got diddled a little bit by my own cowardice when it came to racing Raikkonen. Come on, come on. Shit, no, he's got me. GP2 engine, exactly. I need to grow a beard and sit in a deck chair being depressed. Well, Raikkonen, much like Albon, you got everything right that you had to get right. Well played. And we didn't take each other off. And I was probably a little too aggressive on Stroll at the end, but we didn't take each other out, so... And my 100% record on front wings remains, and Beetlejuice, you got to see I can race a clean race. What? What? Really? Grosjean's driver of the day?
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes.
Oh.
Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the
You did.
working the track conditions and perfecting the team strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Lando up in 6th, good effort from him. I like his helmet design very much.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Yeah, I like the new podium animations. Weird, they've given Ferrari drivers the new race suit, but not the livery on the car. Because the black on the shoulder pads is on top of the airbox in the new livery.
After a difficult race today for our championship leader. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Well, for me, it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver
hold on.
of his reputation.
I gained 4 places.
Things are shaping up
You
in the
bastard.
Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend
Right,
their
what did
lead.
Grosjean do? Oh, he gained 5 places in the race.
A strong weekend from
So,
them as they
fair
find
enough.
their way towards the top. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So, poor Albon DNF'd. Carlos Sainz, I don't know what happened to him because he started 7th on the grid, finished 20th behind the Williams of George Russell. Jordan King went from 21st to 17th, so another good performance from him. Although both horses beat him, which is really not what should be happening. Yeah, all in all though, very happy with my first ever Vietnamese Grand Prix. Let's see what's happening back at base, shall we? To be fair, Grosjean overtaking 5 people, that doesn't normally happen unless the ambulance cuts corners to get to the helipad.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
The car was nimble and light. It wasn't really.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
I'm trying to boost the team acclaim because I want more sponsors. I need the sponsors and their monies. Winning the rivalry so far. Oh, we're close to getting to level 5 acclaim. That's good. One more race. And we got our 104k bonus for no DNFs. Oh, I did damage my car apparently. That must... Ah, so they do charge you for damage. That must have been my... Oh, sorry, mate. What's going on with the auto mod? If there's a problem, I just left it on default, but I can switch it up. Nice to see some more sponsor logos on the race suits, though, and we have more than 2 million in the bank, which means we can technically afford ourselves a cheeky upgrade to the factory. But I'll probably wait another race till we've got a little bit more of a cushion. Yeah, of course it is. Hey man, I need to invest in the factory. I want to see what's available. We have 2 failed updates. That sucks. There's an invitational event though. That's cool. Okay. We will do aero department focus for 3 days. And then we'll do a sponsor advertisement to bring in some more cash, and then we'll have a day off. Right, let's have a look what we can do. So in terms of R&D, we had 2 failed.
For me, this is probably what I'd invest in.
I'm going to try and redo those because they're the only upgrades I planned for the season. The rest will probably go into durability. Yeah, no new sponsor until level 5, but that's okay. And we are now 9th in the drivers and 6th in the Constructors' Championship, equal on points with Racing Point, which at the start of the season would not have expected at all. In terms of contract, 91 days left on Jordan King's contract, so July he will be up for renewal.
Here, we can spend any extra money that you secured on perks. Each of these perks benefit both you and your current team. They stay with you, so they'll make you a more attractive prospect in future negotiations.
We can replace him, yes. But I'm not sure who we would take. Let's see who's available. We have Nick DeFries. We have Jack Aitken, Antoine Hubert, Nobuharu Matsushita, Callum Illott, Luca Giotto, Guan Yu Zhu, Sergio Sete Camara, Dorian Bokolaki, Bocolaci probably, Juan Manuel Correa, Giuliano Alesi, who was originally who I wanted but he wouldn't sign with me first time round, Mick Schumacher, Louis Delatraz, Simon's unofficial boyfriend, Tatiana Calderon, Sean Galale, Nikita Mazepan, Ralph Boschung, and Mahavir Raghunathan. To be fair, Delatraz's ratings are not too bad. Yeah, Korea would be fun, but he's worse than Jordan King in terms of stats. If we were looking at someone who was a step up or equal to, then we'd be on Matsushita, Hubert, Aitken, and DeFries. DeFries might be a good option, though, to be honest. Unfortunately, I can't sign him before the Dutch Grand Prix, though, because we have to see out the contract with King until mid-season. We're making bank, which is good. Yeah, our ICE is 50%. Yeah, I know. I kind of wonder what Helmut Marko does in this game, because if he's got no one to fire, then that defeats his whole purpose of existing. Open Podium Pass. Is Podium Pass working yet? Nope. Really annoying. And then the question is, if we want to spend money on the factory, where do we spend it? See, I'm tempted to go for aerodynamics, but also marketing and personnel have benefits as well. And durability is going to become more of a problem as time goes on. Powertrain I'm not too worried about. It also depends what we want to spend it on. That's something I can think about. Let's advance time. And then we have an invitational event in a Red Bull at Zandvoort. Do you know, normally I wouldn't do it unless it was like one of the Benettons or the Jordan car, but I've not driven Zandvoort, and it could be good practice. Yeah, and there's some claim to be gotten. Fair enough. It's a checkpoint challenge though, and given that I've not driven this particular classic car before, I've never driven the circuit, I'm not sure how well I'm going to do. I've got a feeling though me and this track are not going to be friends. That's my presumption. Why couldn't he have given me the Benettons? The Benettons. I drove the Jordan this morning while I was having breakfast. I did a few laps at Spa in the Jordan 191. Very, very fun.
Today's classic exhibition event has no direct impact upon the Formula.
Yeah, go away, Crofty. Okay. Travel 7.8 kilometers from a rolling start. Yeah, you are completely correct. Had to happen sooner or later, didn't it? Had to happen sooner or later. I know it's cheap to flashback, but it's only an invitational event. And I learned an important lesson there, that there still are some curbs that will cause you to spin out. What a fucking idiot. There's no damage for some reason. It's because the nose is quite high on this car and I couldn't quite see what was going on in the downhill section.
Okay, this is Jeff. I need you to stop cutting the corners. If you keep it up, the stewards will award you a penalty.
I need you to shut up, Jeff. Yeah, I hate this circuit. Well, actually, more specifically, I hate this car. Those curbs are brutal as well. Stay off the curbs. The bank section's kind of cool, but yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a fun Grand Prix. That was horrible as well, wasn't it? Not a fan. I mean, it's not that it's a bad race circuit by any stretch. I was sceptical immediately about its suitability for modern Formula One, and my first impression from the game is I was correct in that assumption. Well, despite my ineptitude, I may just beat the requirements for this challenge. I do miss these engines though, I'll be honest. Well, passed it, got some acclaim. Let's see if it actually makes much difference. Oh, we got 150k actually. That made it worth it. But now that means I've got next two races are not ones I'm going to enjoy because I don't like the circuit in China at all. I mean, I'm not more or less terrible at it than other ones. I just don't enjoy it very much. And I'm clearly not going to enjoy Zandvoort. And then we've got Monaco not long after that as well, which is a challenge. See, mid-season, that's where I'm born to be. Like mid to late season. Once we're in, Spa, Silverstone, Interlagos, Suzuka, and Monza. Those are my circuits. Sochi as well. I'm quite good at Sochi. Oh, and Baku will be coming up at some point, won't it? I tell you what, 22 rounds is a long season. I don't think we really need that many rounds. The game lets you cut it to 16, by the way, but I didn't really want to do that. Right, it still keeps flashing at me to open the podium pass, and then, yeah, nothing. Advance time, more resources.
As we continue to increase our acclaim, more potential partners become willing to work with us.
Oh, we've got a new sponsor unlocked.
Sponsor from the corporate tab.
I agree. It'd be nice to have another one in North America and, well, not even necessarily North America, South America too. It would also be good to have another Asian Grand Prix. I miss Malaysia actually, mainly because you always guaranteed a little bit of weather action. I think, yeah, definitely we need one in Africa, and I think there are some interesting possibilities. And then I still think we should have a Scandinavian Grand Prix. That's what I reckon. I take it you don't like Kyalami, Beetlejuice. That looks like a good option, doesn't it? 127 goal bonus plus 103. Yeah, I know. I had this discussion with quite a few people. I was like, since when was Azerbaijan in Europe? I'm pretty sure it's in Asia, but they said, well, it's a border region, you know, it's kind of... Then again, you know, they let Australia into the Eurovision Song Contest now, so maybe it's all relative. Achieve a top 12 finish. Well, we know we're capable of that now, but I don't want to take it for granted. Let's find someone with a cool logo. Achieve the fastest lap, that's not going to happen. 75 laps during a race weekend, that would normally happen if it wasn't for the fact I'm doing short Grand Prix. 5 different overtakes, not going to happen. Top 10 finish is possible, but I don't want to take it for granted. It is a nice logo, isn't it? I think it would work well on the car. But I'm not going to get a fastest lap. Take 10 different drivers, 15 different drivers. Wow. Achieve and hold first position for 4 laps. That's a bit fucking... Qualifying P15 or better. I think that's one option. I'm not taking any data to do with answering interview questions because you have no control over if you're getting interviewed or not. That's a good one. Top 12 finish. Complete a total of 10 laps, that's easy, but it doesn't pay very much. No DNFs. 1 Constructors' Championship point. Driver of the Day. I don't know what the criteria is for that, so that's not going to happen. Or achieve a top 14 finish. So, for me, while it's not the best logo, it's between this one and this one. 161 goal bonus, 120. Yeah, I'm going to take Pay Night. Later on, I'll have the luxury to just pick the ones with the nicest logos. Right, let's go stick that on the car, shall we? So you see my problem, right? On the end plate there, that logo is in the wrong colour. That'll be the one I'll change actually for the new sponsor, I think. Or maybe this one too, because they're paying more. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to add another colour. I wonder... if black works in my favour. Let's see how it looks now. No, black doesn't work, does it? Black does not work. what's not going to look horrific. I think yellow is going to look a bit wacky. But you've both said yellow, so fine. Yeah, it's a bit too light, so I need kind of like a well, that's the problem. It's on the white part and the purple part. So this is what I was saying about them not thinking things through. Because, see, if I save this now and zoom back out, you see it's yellow on the end plate, but it also has to be yellow on the airbox. And this is why I was looking at black, but black doesn't show up on the. I need something that contrasts with both. So it doesn't help as well that it's a really thin logo. Yeah, let's try for like a dark red. It kind of works. It kind of works. I mean, what we could also do is try changing. I prepared another livery with like a pink highlight, but yeah, it's the same problem. The end plate is and the airbox are different colours in both cases. Here it's not the case, but I'm not sure how it would look. But let's try it. This is the problem again, no colour codes. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. That's not the right purple, is it? It's kind of like that. Okay, now bear with me. We make that white and that white. I mean, I don't like it as much, but let's just be open-minded. And then we'll change the sponsor colour here. To white. That's fine in white. That needs to be white. Or pink. But let's go white. 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 Well, you know, at least all the sponsors are visible now, and I'm hoping in the next day or two it will let me unlock some other liveries, and then we can make like a definitive final livery. But everything shows up there. It's not terrible, is it? It's not the colour scheme. I mean, I tended to prefer more white than purple with this colour scheme when I was using it in sim racing, but for now, yeah, let's keep it. Let's see if it loads in properly now. Yeah, there we go. Actually doesn't look too bad, does it? But now the logo purple doesn't look dark enough. I'm sorry, boring the arse off all of you, I'm sure, but now I need to make sure they match. They will change once I tell them to. Because here, they have given you a quality of life improvement. Triangle, copy your livery colours. But what that means is the design on the shoulder will disappear again because it's white on white. The alternative, I'll tell you what, why don't we see how it works? What if we added silver as an accent colour, which would be here. There was a way to do it before, and oh, that's right, I have to turn saturation down. There we go. Like, it's a very, very thin line. I don't know if you can see it. But then that will put like a... Let's see how it looks, eh? Team colours. Copy livery colours, accept. Okay, and then we'll go to our facilities. That's how the teamwear looks now. God, that's awful. So the purple is purple with a white arm now, and it fades into grey. But I don't want a grey arm either. Saturation up on what, mate? On the silver, or... I can't tweak it specifically for the team clothes. But maybe if I use like a lighter silver, maybe that works to our favour a bit better. Okay, and then back to facilities. Load in, come on. Right, it takes a second to go away. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe there's more team clothes that I can unlock eventually. It just doesn't look right, does it? I mean, if anything, I'd rather it was all purple. What do you guys say? Leave it or make it purple? I'll take a quick show of hands, and then we'll crack on. Purple it is. Let's not waste any more time. I mean, I could make it a slightly different shade of purple. But again, you guys aren't here to just watch me dick around in menus, so... right. And I tell you what, there should be more purple in Formula 1 cars. That's my... so we want full saturation. And then... yeah, maybe I'll do it like a couple of shades lighter. So there's like a... yeah, I think that could work, right? And then we'll change the team colours, then we'll check the team wear, and what should happen, hopefully, is that the bottom of the shirts are a slightly lighter purple, and if we don't like it, then it's just 2 notches on the menu, save, and we're done. Actually, the difference there's a bit bigger than I would have liked. So let's tweak it to something a bit closer, like that. Okay, and then we go back to facilities, clear the menu, let it load in. That doesn't look too bad. I could live with that. If you guys can live with that, I can live with that. I think it's much better as well, mate. Okay, now the important stuff is done, we can piss about on the track. Factory updates though, we've got some extra money in the bank. I'm going to invest in a simulator. It wasn't what I was planning on, but the car has pace. It's now the driver holding it back, and this improves his pace. So we're going to invest in a simulator. Lovely jubbly. And we've got a new ignition system coming, and we've got a brand new livery for the next Grand Prix. I'm excited now. We're getting a team identity together. It's been a collaborative effort. It's taken 4 rounds, sorry. But we got there in the end. And hopefully I can unlock a better looking car livery. The colour scheme I'm quite happy with now. There's got to be a better livery out there. And to be honest, this is a game I would pay for cosmetics. I would, but they have to be implemented well, and they have to look good. You have to be able to see them on the car before you commit to buying them. It can't just be like an abstract drawing in the PlayStation Store. That also looks better on the screens, actually. On the screens behind Jordan, that looks a lot better. I'm really happy with this now. I'm not changing any of my components because I don't want to give myself a penalty. I'm going to do practice. I'm sorry about that. Normally I skip it, but I've just seen it's heavy rain. I've not driven in the wet in this game, and I think I need to gain some practice. I hope you don't mind. But also it's a chance to sneak into photo mode and see what we can put together. Oh, what time are we on? 3:20. I will go on a while longer, and then I will take a break for a few hours, and then I'll be back in the evening, I reckon. I tell you what I might do is I'll do a practice session now in the rain, and then I'll take a break. I've got some jobs to do. I've got to run out to the supermarket. I've got to tidy up a little bit in here, put some laundry on. And then I'll have an early dinner, and then I'll be back all night, I think, because I am freaking loving this game. It's the best. It is the best. Codemasters have always done rain effects very well, I have to say, in these games. And now our pit mechanics should be looking nice and sharp, and they are.
With Carl about the new parts, and we're happy that they've been integrated into the car. Okay, with any luck, you'll be able to feel the improvement.
Look at the state of the pixelization on the side of my car. Look at that. That's horrible. That's really bad. Never mind. I'm just going to go out for no program. We back in 1998. Indeed. You don't think it'd be like that, but it do.
We have a number of programs to run during these practice sessions. You can check the details in the car monitor.
Right, let's see if I have any capability to drive this car in the wet.
Track is wet right now. Feel your way around the
It was a dent to my pride, the last version of... Oh, there we go, now it's sharpened in. It was a dent to my pride, the last version of this game, because I always prided myself on being good in wet weather. And it was the only time I had a good chance of really, like, beating Simon on merit. And then I effed it up in the last version of the game. This isn't a wet weather setup, so I'm not expecting huge success, but I just want to make sure I can get round without constantly spinning all the power away. It doesn't feel too bad, actually. I'm having to be off the power quite a bit, but that's to be expected. almost lost the back end there, but the car caught itself. I didn't really have to do anything, so the car feels fairly well planted. Now we can see what the braking distance is like. No DRS because it's slowing it down. See what our pace looks like. I have to say, it's holding the line much better than I would have expected. I mean, I have to just never touch the power, but that's fine. I like the sponsor logo on my gloves. That's a nice touch. And I imagine the car will actually look really good in photo mode. I'll take some pictures later on. Stick them up on the Instagram. Do it for the gram, baby. Purple Sector 1, but that's nothing to write home about because it's the only Sector 1. And you know what? I've been thinking as well, if I can unlock metallic paint, Beetlejuice's idea of a purple and gold livery at some point, definitely. I might do that for Silverstone for a home Grand Prix. Because I think actually it could look pretty boss. And the good thing about one of the things Codemasters hasn't overlooked is you can pre-save multiple liveries and team clothes designs and helmet designs and so on, and multiple driver characters, so you can just toggle between them. So that means you can like make a livery, switch to it for one Grand Prix and switch it back without having to spend ages tweaking everything again over and over. And you can also play around with liveries in your downtime and swap in and out things that work well for you. Okay, span a bit too much power away there, but it's good to know where I'm being overconfident. Uh, 154.069. No idea if that's good. Probably not as fast as I could be, but we will see. But yeah, in the meantime, I should go to the supermarket before it fills up with all the bastards finishing work or picking their kids up from school. So if I don't die from coronavirus or get apprehended by the police for having my mask at a jaunty angle, I will be back probably, I'd say 3 to 4 hours from now, and then I'll be around all evening. So if you'd like to come and hang out, I would love that, but again, real life obviously takes priority, and I'm pathetically grateful for everyone who's been hanging out with me on stream today. I hope you have a wonderful end of your afternoon and a start to your evening, and hopefully I get to see you later on. Bye for now. Mwah.